You're listening to the European Parliamentary Research Service podcast on the European app economy.
10 years have passed since the first apps appeared, and today they have become the pull star for millions of European citizens who use them to navigate through life with their fingertips.
But how is the app economy developing in Europe, and what are its main challenges and opportunities? Stay with us.
There's an app for that. It's more than just Apple's marketing mantra. Apps have become the modern lifestyle. We use them to monitor our sleep, tune our instruments, to do our shopping, among a million other things.
With dozens of apps installed on our phones, Europeans often spend more time on mobile apps than browsing the internet or watching TV. And the app economy seems to be far from reaching the saturation stage.
Actually, it is expected to grow globally to over 6 trillion euros. Almost fivefold from just over 1 trillion in 2016, and by 2021, the number of global app users is likely to double and reach 6.3 billion people, so business is clearly booming for this sector.
Driven by this unstoppable demand, the European app economy is doing rather well and accounts for just under a third of revenues from the global market.
As coverage grows, data connections improve, and mobile devices become more affordable, clusters of app developers are consolidating in countries such as the UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, and Finland, creating well-paid jobs, value, and innovation in the digital economy.
According to one study, in 2017, the EU has for the first time overtaken the US in the number of jobs created, even if app economy jobs in Europe are still slightly less significant than in the US.
However, there are still barriers to the growth of the sector, including limited availability of finance, shortage of digital skills, and the need to constantly upgrade infrastructure and improve access to data. Let's look into all of these.
When in 2014 the European Commission asked app developers what were the main obstacles they faced, their answer was clear. Business challenges were by far more significant than the technical ones.
They included low-priced or free apps and the domination of US platforms, high customer acquisition costs, and difficulty in access to capital or financing. The top technical bottleneck was platform incompatibility.
Developers also called for the deployment of a modern mobile internet infrastructure and flagged up difficulty in supporting multiple languages and inconsistent laws across EU countries as market difficulties.
Finding the right people to do the job is another problem app developers face, as companies cannot find enough domestic skilled employees and they can't compete with US salaries to attract talent, so they call for easier access to the EU jobs market for third country techies.
In another study carried out by The Economist in 2016, developers pointed to social support for employees, changes in public infrastructure to improve connectivity, and updating regulations as the most helpful actions for the growth of their business.
App developers also highlight the importance of the unrestricted flow of data across European borders, arguing that barriers to data flow have negative effects on economies of scale, hamper innovation and competition, and increase consumer costs.
So what does the EU say about all this? Stay with us.
The EU is working to create an environment where the app economy can thrive, seeking to balance the right legislative touch required in the sector with the necessity to regulate some of its aspects through policies on SMEs, finance, taxation, and the digital single market.
Actually, strengthening the digital single market is a top EU priority, and initiatives such as the Electronic Communications Code, Wi-Fi for EU, and the various 5G projects all aim at boosting the digital economy and connectivity.
The EU also supports startups in the sector by improving their access to finance, supporting research and innovation, and creating fair taxation rules.
To address the digital skills shortage, the EU has set in motion initiatives such as the Digital Skills and Jobs Coalition, which facilitates collaboration between businesses, educators, and public and private actors, and the New Skills Agenda for Europe, which aims at improving education training and skills development.
The EU is also actively supporting the development of the data economy and Internet of Things by funding innovation and promoting common standards and interoperability.
And it is working to increase both the trust and protection of online customers, allowing the sector to grow while controlling some of the potential risks for users, for instance, through the new data privacy rules.
And there are always new developments coming down the line, since this is a fast-evolving area of the economy. One example is the new rules to ensure fairness and transparency for business users of online platforms proposed in the last week of April. So considering how young and immature the sector still is, we could certainly conclude by saying that Europe is not yet a Silicon Valley, but one day it could be even better.
You're listening to the European Parliamentary Research Service podcasts.